And hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. It is a Saturday, definitely. 1 second. There we go. Yeah, it's Saturday night. Time for the weekly dig. Hello, everyone. Hey, JJ. Hey, Jay. Solid Cumby. Good to see you all. And we are talking. Hey, Seth. We are going to be talking about all sorts of things today, hopefully. Welcome, Solari. A lot of folks jumping on. This always warms my heart. Thank you very much. I may have a new segment tonight, which would be pretty exciting. We just wanted to bring in and talk about some stuff. Osamatsu is doing a celebration. That's awesome. Osamatsu has been around for a long time. I have been, let's see here, this week, been doing some fun projects. Oh, Project Eiko. Nice, Solid Company. That's a personal favorite of mine. One of the anime that got me into anime. Project Eiko, a ridiculous sort of parody of anime tropes and sci-fi tropes in general, but particularly anime stuff. Very over-the-top, very ridiculous, and beautiful, beautiful animation. Pretty much all throughout that first Project Eiko movie. And went on to do, I think, 4 sequels to Project Eiko. Hey, Becca. Good to see you. So this week I've been working on an anime canon. No, not anime canon, though that would be kind of cool. But I'm more of a pacifist at heart. Thanks to all the anime I've seen, of course. But you know the idea that in literature you have a canon, you know, a list of classics that is used as kind of a reference point, a base point for discussion. And I've been thinking about what that would look like for anime. Working in the Discord on that with a couple of different folks collaborating on that in the general channel. Was it in the general channel? I think we were talking about that. Yeah. And a lot of stuff up there. AS in the Discord been providing some great advice on that. And we really quickly thought, yeah, it would have to be an anime railgun, of course. And that's the idea. Hey, Johnny. And obviously the idea is not to say, here's the only anime you may see, or here's the most important anime, but just identifying the anime that people tend to talk about a lot, right? You know, making a list of the most talked about anime, or the most influential anime, so that other folks can use that as a starting point to say, hey, if I want to get up to speed, what should I watch? And I've been coming together with some stuff. Oh, JJ started Gardris. Nice. It's a fun one. So I put that up on the Geek Archaeology. If you go to geekarchaeology.com/canon, I'll put that in the chat if anyone wants to try it out. Just a kind of a fun initial attempt. And one of the first things I did was break it out into multiple different lists, because I think you have different audiences for this. You got the folks who are just getting into anime and want kind of that very basic, you know, what are the cool kids talking about list. There's stuff for the more experienced fans and the stuff that more experienced fans tend to talk about. Then there's stuff that's more notable in Japan than over here, although it may also be big over here. And then all the artsy-fartsy anime, so when folks say, well, here's what you should really watch, here's the most really interesting stuff. And I might do another list. It's not by decade, but it is chronological. And the year is by each one. And you got to... so yeah, and I'll probably add a category for like firsts or other, you know, sort of landmark anime, things that kind of change things around notably. Because that's often interesting to look at. And it's not comprehensive, it's not everything yet. It's just kind of my first pass at that list to get some ideas in there. And I think it might be helpful in future. I'm actually already thinking of doing some videos kind of diving into some of these lists. Again, it's not intended to be authoritative. It's just meant to say, hey, if you're just getting into anime and you feel lost, here's a couple of dozen anime that will kind of get you up to speed with what a lot of the memes are online, with what people tend to discuss a lot. When folks are saying this anime is just like X, what X are they usually referring it to? Other stuff like that. So again, hopefully it'll be useful, and I wouldn't mind building some lists around Brent's anime list. Exactly, that is kind of the idea. And if folks have suggestions, feel free to throw them at me. Here, Discord, email, whatever. Yeah, thanks, Becca. I think that is helpful, because the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, where would I slot something like, Ghost in the Shell, the first movie, which more experienced fans certainly talk about, but it's not in the zeitgeist of modern anime fandom. Modern anime fans aren't posting screen grabs of that movie, right? Just like that. But you're absolutely right, Johnny, that it's, there is no one up to speed. It is so diverse. People are watching so many different things that, it's a lot harder than it was 10, 20 years ago. And partly just because our opportunities were limited. Actually, somebody popped into the Discord today, I think it was, who got into anime, decades ago, and talking about how, back in the day, it's like a lot of people's collections consisted of literally everything they could find, because there was that little to find. And Toonami came along, and lots of other options. I might throw. There is one mature work that I might throw on that list. We will see, because it is kind of influential. What does it take for an anime to become a must-watch or a classic in general? That's the thing, is I think it depends on your context, right? I think must-watches are really about what zeitgeist you're trying to capture. I think for modern American anime fans, it's important to know what My Hero Academia is, and One Punch Man, and Attack on Titan, right? Like, those are just things that people talk about a lot. But for an understanding of the medium, you don't need to have seen One Punch Man, right? That doesn't. One Punch Man doesn't really inform you about how the medium works in a way that other works do. It is not Bible Black, actually. So yeah. So the other thing is, I'm trying to be very careful about anything recent, because there's just it's too hard to tell if something recent is something in the last year or two. Something that recent is going to have staying power. There are even a few on there which I'm like, these are kind of trending right now. I don't know if they will last as things, especially in the American zeitgeist. American fandom tends to be big things. Kill la Kill is a good example of an anime that was massive, a few years ago, but really popularity of that has tailed off, and you don't really need to have seen Kill la Kill to be up on things. That's good thought juice. So that's something I've been working on, and that has inspired me. I'm going to try over the course of this long Memorial Day weekend, but it'll probably stretch into the next week, to catch up on anything in the modern American list that I have not seen. Now, that does not mean that I have to watch something, that I have to watch it all the way through, but I'm trying to watch at least 3 episodes of any given work. I think Goblin Slayer is a good example of something that was huge for like a few months and then kind of faded away. So it's hard to say. A few of those more recent things have stayed around long enough to be notable. Demon Slayer is a good example, where it's definitely trending, it's definitely big, but a few years from now, Demon Slayer might drop off the list. Welcome, Christian. But for now, I definitely think it is notable. and remarkable. I've decided to try to catch up on this. So today I watched the first 3 episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the 2012 anime of that, so that I would have some familiarity with that, because I've seen screen grabs, obviously, and clips still in there. It's hard to avoid JoJo's. Speaking of memes. And so that's gonna. I watched the first 3 episodes of JoJo's, and I definitely have opinions. I definitely have a better understanding of why folks like it. It's definitely not a show for me, though. But I get a sense of it. This might sound demeaning or might sound dismissive, and I don't mean it. But I think JoJo's has some of the same appeal as like professional wrestling, meaning it is spectacular, it's melodramatic, it's very big, a lot of stuff going on in the sense of long-term rivalries and plots and so forth. Right, it's very very over the top, and so it's very fun in that way. Right, it has a lot of just that popcorn appeal of just, oh my gosh, what are they going to make them do next? So yeah, it has that approach. And you're right, Telecom. It is also difficult when some of these shows are so brief to really get into them. So yeah. And I do see people talk about it. There's certainly a difference between most memed and most talked about. Absolutely. Thank you, Game Escape. Yep, bookcase is coming along. I might go out this weekend and get the supplies for bookcase number 3 and work on that over the week. We will see. But yeah, thank you. And they're a little more stable. We're working on some other woodworking stuff. Actually, can I show you? So JoJo's was a good example of where I'm very glad I watched 3 episodes. So I'm like, okay, I understand. I get the appeal, and I understand it a little bit better than just watching clips or just having watching trailers or whatever. But I don't need to watch any more of it, right? Like I got it. Yeah, and I think Darling in the Franxx is a good example too. But I do see people like analyzing JoJo's and doing like submitting panels around JoJo's at conventions, right? It seems to have a little more analysis around it than just that kind of stuff. Yeah, I hear that, Solid Gumby. I do think JoJo has been put up on a pedestal. People act like it was the originator of all things anime, and I don't think that is accurate. I think JoJo is a classic example. It's kind of like Evangelion, where for a lot of people, JoJo's is the oldest anime they're aware of, or it's the oldest manga they're aware of. Like it's the oldest work that they're aware of, and they're like, oh my gosh, this thing was going on in the 80s. So they're kind of like, well, clearly because this has these tropes, it was the originator of all these tropes. It's like, a lot of them have been around since before that. Again, I'm not against JoJo's, but it's kind of like my thought with people saying that Eva was the most original thing ever. Not really. So other things I've been working on. I finished this up last week and wasn't able to show it off. This is a vegetable holder made out of some scrap wood. Completely finished, stained, and polyurethaned. And it's just scrap pieces of wood all glued together. No screws or anything like that, because wood glue is pretty solid. Like, I'm not going to be able to, tear this apart. I'm sure if I, took a hammer to it, it would fall apart. But the idea is just, it sits on my counter, and I can put like potatoes and onions and stuff in that. And it sits off the counter, and it's just a nice little container for those. So that was nice. And then, in a similar vein, tell what this is. What are we used for? Oh yeah, polyurethane is often used on woodworking projects to protect it. It holds up. Yeah. Skateboard. I wish. It actually looks a lot like a traditional Japanese bathtub cover, right? Kuchunk, which is kind of what it is. This is a basically a plank to put stuff on in the bath. So it's like a shelf for the bath. You can just set this on top of your bathtub and read a book or have candles or whatever while you're taking a bath. And it's just kind of a nice, convenient thing to rest on. And then similar thing, just glued 2 pieces on the bottom. Actually got it wrong. These are in the wrong place, unfortunately. I think this is the one that should be moved over here, but whatever. So just glued down and then, again, stained in polyurethane. And turned out really, really well. And this is just kind of straight up this wood. The one thing, in case anyone's wondering, if I can zoom in, you might be able to see. I did not do a very good job on this. So you can see kind of the goopiness of the polyurethane. It's my first time polyurethaning anything. So lest anyone thinks that I do these things and I'm immediately brilliant at them. Nope, there's plenty of grit got in there to make it messy, and it just kind of got everywhere. And I laid this down on something, so it got all sticky, and then it's just not very smooth. So I'm very happy with it. Don't get me wrong. It turned out very, very well, but don't think I'm a genius in any of this. It's getting there. And even at the top, if I again kind of get close, you might be able to see there's a lot of little grit and grime and such that got in there. So I'm learning. I'm getting better. Part of the problem is that I polyurethane and stained these on an old tarp that had bits of sawdust and so forth that kind of fallen into it. I didn't clean it before polyurethaning, and all that stuff got stuck on it as I was working on it. And I kicked up dust and so forth. So lesson learned. And I've not taken a bath on it yet. I'll probably do that tomorrow. I'm not going to be seeing it much. Yeah, so that's the other thing, is that I've not polyurethaned anything before. I didn't want to put raw vegetables on stained wood. For one thing, I thought I was getting juices and an onion might get in and stain it, that kind of stuff. So I wanted something to protect it. And polyurethane is a common tool for that. This is 3 coats of polyurethane, 3 thin coats. And so you just put it on there, over and over again, and eventually it builds up this finish. And it's nice and shiny. So FYI. And this is just, again, just scrap wood, and then I sanded down the edges here, and then this top here was just sandpaper, over and over and over again. Starting with a very heavy grit sandpaper, working down to a lighter grit sandpaper. So again, just kind of a project. I think I mentioned last time I was working on a bird feeder that I decided I didn't want to make. So the parts for that are still down there. And then I might finish out a paint tray for next week. It's for, William asks, because I have various paints, acrylics and oils and such I use for painting. The acrylics I use for painting minis for D&D. I played around with some oil painting. You can see a little bit of one back there. And so I found the problem is I've got just, stacks of, there's a bunch of these bottles of paint I have to stack in different places, and then brushes and so forth. So I would I can put these back, to just build a couple of little wooden trays, again out of scrap wood, because I have some spare plywood in the back. That will then stack, and I can just put these in, and I'll probably stain them. Don't need to. Maybe I'll shellac them or polyurethane them. But at least just something so that when I'm painting, I can just pull things out of it, and they're not just sort of scattered across various shells and things. But that's the other thing. So folks are asking armor, magnetic death ray. I would like to make these a little bit more interesting. Magic Tree House. There's an anime of that. So I would like to maybe like do some laser etching or something, or some designs or something on these, so they're not just oak. Killdozer, yeah. He tried to kill me with a forklift. Yeah, paper armor. Because many thicknesses of paper is pretty serious stuff. Very you know, very serious. I mean, they won't stop a bazooka blast, but when you're going up against people with machetes and spears and such, they can offer some protection. Paper can. And if you want proof, you can take. Well, this isn't really a great example, but if you take like a really thick book and you hit it with a knife, it will not go through very far. Typically, the paper armor was like shellacked or otherwise, like it's glued together, right? It's not just paper. So there's extra adhesives keeping it together, but that's the idea there. So otherwise, anime wise, actually I should list. So the anime I have not seen that's on that. Let me just scroll back up. So the anime on the sort of anime canon for new fans that I have not seen, that I want to get through this weekend are Full Metal Alchemist. I've seen like one episode. Fate Zero, Sword Art Online, Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, and Demon Slayer. I have seen an episode of Demon Slayer and loved it. So I'm going to try to dig further into those, and hopefully over the course of the next couple of days, I will have things to say about those shows. Exactly. Actually, I think China did have flamethrowers, but they weren't like practical battle weapons, sadly. Yeah, no, I missed out on FMA. Granted, I watched the first episode of FMA and was like, I do not like Ed. I found him to be an annoying punk kid as a protagonist, so I kind of bounced off that. But then coming back to it, was like, oh, okay, I can kind of get that. Both. I have not seen either. Again, I've seen like the first episode of FMA, but nothing beyond that. Byzantine had Greek fire. I thought China had flamethrowers, but I could be wrong. I'm sure I saw it in some Chinese anime once, so it must be true, right? Greek fire was nasty stuff, though. Ooh. Greek fire was a very unpleasant thing to be on the receiving end of. Yeah, it's actually something we were arguing about when we were talking about the canon. Is do you include original Full Alchemist or Brotherhood? Because Brotherhood is considered kind of the definitive version, especially by fans. But usually, the first one is what got folks into anime. Right? Like that is the beloved one that was actually kind of the originator of all of the fandom around FMA. So it's kind of in this weird spot. So I would say, I kind of say, what like I said, they're both notable, right? Like you could watch one or the other as long as you know what you're getting into. Didn't like Haruhi? Fair enough. Yeah, I think what saved me for Haruhi is the fact that Haruhi is not in it much. She's not like central. She's obviously central to the plot, but it's more about Kyon and the other characters. So Haruhi is more an instigator than anything else. Because I can totally see why that protagonist, that personality would turn you off. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, is that FMA is just beloved in different ways, and there's an energy to the first series that's not in Brotherhood, from what people have told me, and from what I've seen, is that it's just a different, it's a different vibe in each series, legitimately. So that is also a thing, also an aspect. No, I think. Oh gosh, our Battler Dunbean has to take the spot as first Isekai. Really, unfortunately. Much as I love Dot Hack. Oh, interesting. So start with original FMA and then finish out with Brotherhood. That's not a bad idea. Welcome, Spin. Good to see you. And Dunbean's another anime I'd like to watch sometime. Is Digimon isekai? I guess technically the digital world is a separate world. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Y'all hear that? Oops, there we go. Lord Admiral, I'm not quite sure what you mean that anything can be isekai, it's too broad. I mean, everything we described up there is pretty clearly isekai. I'm not quite getting where you're coming from there. Not disagreeing with you, but pretty sure Escaflowne is this guy. All right. Bink. Hello and welcome to the latest anime news for the week ending May 23rd, 2020. This is a pretty light week for news, bringing only one announcement of new anime to come. It was confirmed this week that Kiyotaka Oshiyama's new studio, Durian, yes, Studio Durian, is planning to produce a feature-length film version of their 2019 anime short Shishigari, or Lion Hunter. The film's currently in its planning stage and is still working on gathering funds, so the studio hasn't yet set a production schedule. In other words, it will come out someday. The original 1.5-minute anime short premiered in July of 2019 and depicts a mountain boy going on his first coming-of-age hunt. The concept for the film was originally pitched at Anime Japan 2019 as part of a program that helps train Japanese animation producers in delivering English language pitches to international producers and professionals, which is pretty interesting. This initial pitch did describe a 90-minute film with the theme of the clash between primitive humans and humans who have evolved too much. The anime's official website provides a short story synopsis, and it definitely sounds like a classic coming-of-age anime. I will quote, "A boy lives a peaceful life in a small village deep within the mountains. Chirp, 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 chirp. One day, the Oni suddenly appear and take everything from the boy. He goes on a journey to follow them and get back the people they kidnapped. After a long journey, he comes across a huge colony of 1,000,000 Oni, which is called Oni Hill." Very different from Jonah Hill. As you know, we haven't been covering most delays and cancellations in the anime world right now, but as the summer season approaches, several of the series that were expected to be airing soon have now been delayed. Boy, there's a shocker, but, worth noting. Firstly, the new Higurashi When They Cry anime project announced a delayed premiere this week. It was originally scheduled to begin in July, but it's now been delayed to a yet unspecified time due to the effects of COVID-19 on the production schedule, as we're all used to. The staff plans to announce a new debut date as soon as a decision has been made, which makes sense. The first Higurashi anime came out back in 2006 and was adapted from the visual novel of the same name, launched at Comiket in 2002. Several upcoming original anime series have also been pushed back. Katakawa and Aniplex both announced the delay of their newest original projects, which will now premiere in October instead of during the summer season. So this might be a light season for all of us. Katakawa's original TV anime Maisetsu tells a story about a group of girls who perform in comedy duos, quote, attempting to achieve their dreams, even as they struggle gallantly, end quote, which is actually a great general description of pretty much every anime, excluding the comedian part. Lucky Star manga author Kagami Yoshimitsu is credited with the original illustrations for the project, so we know, regardless of their gallant struggle, the girls will at least be cute. Anyway, so, always sad when there's a pushback, but at least there's a reason for it. Aniplex's upcoming original Warlords of Sigdrifa, something, has also been delayed from its July premiere date to October. This series will bring us another story of cute girls saving the world from destruction, this time with planes, so it's different. In the anime's original story, written by ReZero author Tappei Nagatsuki, the pillars suddenly appeared above Earth, threatening all life on the planet. Isn't that always the way? And as humanity was driven to near total defeat, a god called Odin appeared, sounds familiar, and bequeathed humanity with the Valkyries, battle maidens who use the hero craft, aka small fighter planes, as their wings. So it's the ride of the Valkyries with planes. Finally, the anime of the mixed media rap franchise Hypnosis Mike was also pushed back to an October premiere. That's Mike as in microphone, not Mike as in Michael. The series production committee explained it is prioritizing the health and safety of its staff in light of the coronavirus and the state of emergency, blah, 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 blah. The publication of the official guidebook was also pushed back from June to September, which makes sense. And the franchise previously also had to cancel a stage play production in May, though they hope to revive the stage play for performance in August. Here's hoping that works. Hypnosis Mike centers around male rap groups, each representing a certain region of Japan, and their division Rap Battle. So not at all like certain other pop idol franchises. Fans who are looking forward to these series will surely be disappointed, but fall isn't too much longer to wait, right? And, it is better to wait a few more months for the sake of all the future anime to come and, not killing off animators, right? I think that kind of makes sense. Now, our ratio of anime announced to anime canceled might be in the negative right now, but we did get one more little hopeful teaser this week. On Monday, acclaimed filmmaker Makoto Shinkai, you may have heard of him, tweeted about his current progress on his next film. Very exciting. He posted a picture of some production notes from Weathering with You that were dated 2016 and 2017 with a caption, quote, "I'm gradually assembling my new work while following the pace of the production of Weathering with You 3 years ago. I don't have the brain power to imagine the story, the characters, and the visuals all at once, so I've been working on it for months and months, trying to build it up and break it down again," end quote. If he continues following his previous pace of production, we're probably still a couple of years out from the film's completion, as Weathering with You premiered in July of 2019. Still, nice to know that the next movie is coming along, even if it's still in its early stages. That's kind of the way that works, and it kind of is the right time anyway. He tweeted about the writing process back in April, saying, quote, "I've been writing the screenplay for my new film for the past 2 months, and every day I don't know what to think about now, what to say or what we want to see in a few years. But I still write anyway," end quote. And that's good advice for any creatives. Keep working. As new favorites are being created, some others are coming to a triumphant end. This week's issue of Weekly Shonen Jump published the final chapter of Koyoharo Gotoge's incredibly popular Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba manga series. The issue also announced a short spin-off manga will be coming in the future, and I'm sure other stuff, centering on the Flame Hashira Kyojiro Rengoku. Weekly Shonen Jump is also selling a reprint of the final chapter's manuscript. The 21-page B5 size manuscript will come in its own manuscript envelope and sell for 3,850 yen, or about $36 US. Now, the award-winning manga debuted in February of 2016 and has sold more than 60 million copies across both print and digital releases. Its popularity increased in 2019 with the premiere of the UFO Table anime production, or UFO Table, I never know how to pronounce that. Plus the anime series, along with the series and the spin-offs, the mangas also inspired 3 novels, a stage play, 2 upcoming video games, and, of course, countless fans. And something tells me there will be more to come. Online events have become a pretty regular staple in our weekly news roundup, and this week is no exception, except that this one might not be for the general public to attend. Internet service and game developer DMM announced this week that it will host an online convention in late June for the anime industry. DMM hopes to set up a place where everyone in the anime industry, including overseas companies, can hold business discussions and make announcements. There will be a venue where each company can get on live stream and hold business negotiations and conversations with other company representatives, as well as online meetings held through Zoom and similar applications. Hey, maybe we can get some use out of all those anime backgrounds companies having posting all those video chats too. The event hopes to fill the gap of physical conventions and their related business opportunities, much as our convention and others try to fill the convention gap in the social aspect. Being stuck in a time of pandemic is always going to be a challenge, but at least we live in the time of the internet to help us cope. And hopefully this will provide for some of that sort of in the hallway discussion stuff that you often get at conventions that are often so useful for business. Now, counterfeit merchandise is certainly a common occurrence across all fandom, including anime, but some popular franchises obviously have it worse than others. This week, U.S. Customs and Border Protection reported its officers in Pennsylvania seized a shipment of 86,400 bootleg Pokemon figures, and boy are they bootlegs. The shipment consisted of 15 boxes of figures, which, if authentic, would have had a value of more than $600,000, although looking at some of the figures pictured, I'm pretty sure most people could tell they're not exactly official Pokemon merchandise. That Eevee Flareon hybrid definitely looks like it's seen better days. Maybe it needs to spend a little less time out of the Pokeball and in fresh air. The shipment was seized for both violating intellectual property rights and because these small figures could represent a choking hazard for young children. Okay. It was also noted, this is weird, that counterfeit toys are often coated in potentially dangerous levels of lead paint. It seems a good moral here is don't buy counterfeit goods, or if you do, at least don't chew on them. But I don't see any lead paint on those. I don't know why. Whatever. Finally, being involved in anime fandom, we get our fair share of fun, amusing, and just plain bizarre merchandise collaborations. This week's iteration is the ever-popular Gundam collab, though paired with a product that's a far cry from plastic models. There we go. The Gundam series has partnered up with the King Oscar Sardines company to offer sardine packets featuring pictures of iconic character Char-dines. So they are, yes, that's right, Char-dines. King Oscar Sardines even launched a short promo video for the collaboration, which features Char himself being impressed by the many culinary possibilities the little fish can offer. The official website also includes several recipes that can be made with the sardines, including things like pasta sauce, stir fry, and caprese salad. The Char-dines were incredibly popular on Amazon Japan, becoming the #1 top-selling item in the tinned food category, which, boy, that's going to be a limited category. Maybe not in Japan. A good reminder to never doubt the power of an anime collaboration, no matter how weird it might seem. That's all the news for this week. Thanks for watching. Yes, if the recipes were being made 3 times faster, that would definitely help. And yes, it's back. Well, no, Fisher. Oh, we should have made that joke. At least they caught them all. Darn it. Darn it. Yeah, so I expect we're going to see another season of Demon Slayer to finish out the main storyline, and then we'll probably see something else. Char-dines clearly fit for a king. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Fit for an emperor. Fit for a Haman Karn. I don't know. Definitely. Can we have like full frontal Char-dines? Full flavor Char-dines, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, Char-dines Counter-Strike is pretty good. Um, has anyone done like a Counter-Strike mod featuring Char? I feel like that should be a thing, right? Like there should be a Counter-Strike mod of just all Chars running around. Um, I haven't actually watched the clip. It would be great if Char were like in that scene, like in Ireland. That'd be pretty awesome. Yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, this is hardly the last one. In fact, weren't the didn't the Eva coffees showed up somewhere? I think the Eva reboot movies had a coffee tie-in, and then they were in something. They were like in an anime or something. Like it was in Lucky Star or something. I don't know. Or some recent anime. I thought I saw somebody drinking, a coffee with Asuka on it or something. Um, mm, Eva cup ramen. Yeah, there's tons of Eva food products. Maybe fun to do that at some point. Do um, just do a video where I buy a bunch of Gundam food merchandise, Eva food merchandise. Wonder. I wonder how much you can get. Actually, where would I go for that stuff? I'm gonna search. That's not very helpful. Um, like if I wanted Evangelion snacks, I guess JList. But JList's stock is, not hugely expansive. Oh, they've changed their site. Let's see your search. Let's just search Evangelion. Figurines, obviously. Can we filter? Shop by category. Snacks and food. Yep, they don't have any Eva snacks at JList. Hobby Link Japan, it's a good idea. We'll take a quick moment to do a little bit of research. And there's Asuka on the front page. And Gundam's on their nav bar, man. Evangelion category. I only have 3 foods. Chocolate boxes. Because, Valentine's Day is past. Let's see here. I also had fun goods. What does Evangelion fun goods look like? Patches. Okay, fair enough. Asian food grocer. Cool. No filler. Interesting. Good for him. Whoops. Yeah, plushies, that kind of stuff. I was mentioning this on the Discord how I'm actually not as interested in Evangelion what classic merchandise of like a plushie of the characters in their standard school uniforms, but that kind of stuff. The Eva characters in just standard street clothes. I'm a sucker for that stuff. Right Stuff. Again, even Right Stuff, their selection's fairly thin on food, as I recall. Manga and books, drinkware, magnets, lunch boxes, office supplies, towels, pillows, figures, bags, hats, wallets, clothing, jewelry, music. I don't think Right Stuff sells any snacks. It's not on their top level categories. Hmm. Kind of surprising. I guess I don't want to get into that whole shipping issue of shipping stuff and then it dies out. Amazon Japan, yeah, true. I wonder if good. That's gonna be difficult though, considering I can't read or write Japanese. Let's just try Evangelion. That pulls back stuff, but this is not going to be easy to filter. I'm assuming if I, Evangelion snacks is not going to return anything because it's not going to be listed under the English word snacks. Nope. Okay. You do have some like random snacks. One snack, one smile. Whole big Japanese snack assortment. An English option, top right of the screen. Prime. Not seeing English anywhere. On their site. I mean, I can change to US, but that's going to take me to, that just takes me to Amazon.com. I must just not be seeing it. Let's see here. Top right of the screen. Yeah, no, I don't see anything. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. English translation. There we go. Okay. Yep, okay, cool. Evangelion. Why am I so hot? Evangelion.
Maybe you'd like to go swimming.
Be quiet, phone. I would like to go swimming, but that's not what I'm going to do. They don't have their brands category. Evangelion, kitchen, wristwatches, sports, computer video games, beauty, health and care, food and beverage. One item, the Evangelion cup ramen, looks like. Darn it. Yeah, exactly, Becca, is that a lot of this stuff is just released in like Lawson's, but not anything else. Off this kind of device, yeah, no kidding. Gotta love all of the privacy concerned folks who walk around with phones on all the time. Like, you wanna be careful with that. All right, so here's the thing. One second, JJ, those links did not work, sadly. YouTube just filters those out. I have no control over that, sadly. Just any links. Just get immediately killed. Evangelion sake, that would be fun. Food, beverage, and alcohol. Let me just see. No. Okay. This is non-trivial, sadly. There we go. So if I do, because they actually had all departments. I'm gonna try to Google essentially Evangelion snacks. Nope. They show some of those panda.
These pictures should match.
No, they don't. All right. I'm actually going to turn off my phone now. No, those are like links. Yeah, no, that's not. Like sausages. So that's not. I don't want sausages right now. Right. Anyway. So, JJ, if you're available, let's talk about some of this news stuff. I'm going to go ahead and try to pull you in, and we'll see if that works. Let's see how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and try launching a call. So here goes nothing, everyone. See if that will work, and if you all can hear that or all that kind of good stuff. We have to play around with some of the options here, obviously, but we'll see if this works. So waiting for a connection. My internet sometimes has some weird problems engaging connections, so this may take a few moments. I hear some echo on your side.
Okay, I've got you on. I see the little boxes spinning in the air. So waiting.
Right. You're probably not going to. Is there any way you can go on headphones?
Oh, hi. It's gonna be headphones on the main PC versus a laptop camera. Does that make a difference?
I do not know, but I'm hearing my my voice echoing on your side.
No, but I'm hearing my voice echoing on your side.
So if you can headphone that out,
Okay, how
that would
about
be great. That fixed it. Perfect. I am not seeing your video. Do you have?
You got me now?
I hear you great.
And that's headphones on the. Okay. Okay.
But I'm not seeing your camera. I don't think I can pull my camera up because OBS is absorbing
it's
it.
gonna be a fight on the camera.
Okay. Well then, we may just have to make this audio only for now.
Let me
And meanwhile, let me just one moment, folks, while I pull up the stuff we're going to
Yeah,
talk about.
it's telling me a camera error.
Camera error.
I thought I had this fixed.
Ain't that always the way? All right. Just scroll down a bit. Okay.
I'm gonna try closing Discord and then relaunching it.
Okie doke. Please bear with us, everyone. We are experiencing technical difficulties without outside our control. But we will be there in a moment.
And this is entirely my technical difficulty with the age of the equipment I'm working with. Come on.
Is it the laptop or the camera? That's the underlying problem, I wonder.
Oh, it's. Oh, I'm going to cry.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's the camera on the laptop again.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Good to know. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's going to be tough for me because I'm going to have to get back to the service people again. So.
We'll talk. Meanwhile, I think I have. Do I have an image of you here somewhere I can pop up?
Yes.
Let's see here. I thought I had a little like. There it is. There we go. So this is JJ. Welcome, JJ. On our little conversation thing. So that'll just have to be it. All right. So we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the news items of the week. Particularly some of the more wacky and odd ones. And what we highlighted was this U.S. Customs seizure of bootleg Pokemon figurines, which is just kind of an odd one. $600,000 worth of counterfeit figurines. I don't know. There are days when I feel I'm surprised folks are still making these. JJ, you there?
Having read that,
Yeah.
it immediately came to mind is this is the first time yes, I'm still here.
Cool.
It's the first time that I've seen a story like this in, quite some time. So it kind of makes you wonder, if they caught this in Philadelphia, what did they not catch in Seattle, in Houston, in Pensacola, in Raleigh? You know, it's like this. It's great to see that they're intercepting counterfeit goods. But by that same token, this really probably is just a drop in the bucket. So I'm kind of amused at how many. If this is $600,000 worth of stuff, how many millions of dollars worth of stuff is coming in that just is getting totally unseen?
And this is only 15 boxes of figurines or figures. You know, it's not it's not a giant container full of them.
Well, I know when I was looking at some of my Figma figures, that going through Amazon, looking at eBay, you know, just sort of kicking around with some of the sites that I've sent to you, like JList or JBox or any of those, looking, you know, what's a good price, what do I want to pay, and, you know, you can find in individual transactions figures that are really, yeah, some of them are done really, really well, and you can't tell the difference between a licensed Max Factory Figma figure and this sort of counterfeit figure. But then you will also find the ones that are like really, really obviously terrible, terrible knockoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, actually, oh, never mind. Sorry.
And you know what I mean? Those are the ones that you can buy individually from whatever source, and they're not coming in on a 15 boxes or a container ship or anything. They're individual boxes, singularly sent in.
Yeah, those have got to be impossible to make a dent in terms of piracy.
Yeah, I mean that's just given the depth and breadth of the internet and you know how just the nature of e-commerce works. I can't imagine any customs agent ever having enough time on their hands to monitor more than maybe a few well-known channels of counterfeit import versus, you know, the presumably thousands of little tiny channels, even some of those, and I don't mean this in any kind of mean way to Amazon, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of Amazon sellers that are who knows where. You know, I just got some patches to put on my combat, and some of them are from sort of unknown sources. And Amazon just says, "You want tracking? You know, ask the seller," and they've come straight from China. You know, that's just par for the course to Amazon. They don't really, you know, say anything whether it's licensed or not. So I don't know. You know, is my strike, which is where the patch is slightly off center and a little weird, is that licensed? I don't know. Is my Osai Academy from Girls and Panzers, is that absolutely licensed? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are certainly cases where it's fairly obvious. I'm actually going to see if I can pull up here. If I have on the side, I can just show folks real quick. I have way too many.
There are some YouTube videos that have shown like terrible knockoff stuff where the eyes are like upside down in different directions.
Oh yeah.
It's just hysterical stuff.
Why can't I find? This is really, there it is. So there's definitely some, you know, some bootleg stuff that's very much bootleg. Whoops, what's going on there? That's not right. Definitely some bootleg stuff that's very much bootleg stuff. You know, there's this.
Yeah,
there we are. You know.
Wow. What the hell is that?
I have no idea. I like Anna Montana. That's pretty cute.
Oh, that JoJo stuff was terrible.
Yep. Pretty impressive.
Anna Montana.
This almost looks photoshopped, but probably not.
Oh my God, Thomas the Tank Engine. That's great.
I do like that Naruto. That's a pretty
big effort on somebody's part.
Exactly.
Why does Naruto look like
Dash?
Oh my gosh, the Incredibles.
Yep. That's definitely Dash from the Incredibles. Fluffy Wood Fairy.
Yeah,
That's definitely what that is.
Fluffy Wood Fairy.
Yep, that's a Fluffy Wood Fairy for $100. It's a steal, you know.
That's great.
So yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Mizaki would be terribly happy.
Oh yeah. I didn't know there was a season 2 of Naruto versus Avatar. I knew about season 1, but that's news to me that they got all the way to a season 2 on that one.
Oh.
Yeah, imagine that. So, oh boy.
Well, that's great. You know, one's anime and one's American cartoonage, and they're
Right.
working great together. That's awesome.
Totally. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
there's a lot of that
Do
stuff.
it.
Just yeah, Jeff Doeth.
Wow.
Jeff
You
Doeth,
rock,
man.
Pokemon.
Yep. So yes, there's a lot of this stuff, and it's just it never ends. It seems. Yeah, it's kind of
Dear
crazy.
God.
And the crazy thing is how many of those things are like in
Well,
stores.
the other thing that struck me about the news, not all the delays, because yeah, I expect the delays. My fishing club show has been on hiatus now for several weeks, and I'm still waiting for the end of summer apparently. But the sardine tie-in bill that we had, you know, some nice commentary going on here about these Char-dines. But God, you know, really, somebody, why was this a thing? You know, ice cream, maybe puddings, perhaps. You know, sardines such a unique kind of concept, such a weird niche audience. That why would that be a thing?
Okay, so I'm gonna be me for a minute. I recently finished reading a book called Japan's Dietary Transitions and Their Environmental Impacts. Because yes, I'm that kind of person. And it's basically about how Japan's diet has changed over the past century or so, and about how it's certain things have been overfished and so forth and so on. And one of their points is that Japan has massively increased its fish consumption over the past few decades. Actually, fish was not that commonly consumed by like the average Japanese person until like the 1960s. It was a very expensive thing outside of the coasts. It was, you couldn't just ship most fish inland until you had decent refrigeration. So fish was, pretty rare until like 60s, 70s, and then just everyone started eating it. So even things like sardines have I don't want to say it's like a luxury aspect, but I wonder if there's a certain amount of, it's fish. Japanese people love fish. We all love fish, right? So we got to eat fish. And we're going to have sardines. Sardines are hugely popular, I do know, in Japanese cuisine in general. So it could be one of those things where it's like, everyone's eating sardines all the time. So why not char, right? Like, why not that, I guess.
But are sardines, and none of us who eat sushi in the U.S. are participating in what is a normative cultural aspect of North America. But are sardines really either the fish in the canned format or fresh format? Is that a Pacific fish stock that is culturally relevant to Japan?
I think it has become culturally relevant in the sense that it has become so commonly eaten that it is a pretty big deal. Do I have it on here? One second. I'm not sure if that is a book I have digitally or not. It's digital. Let me just see if I can tell you.
Because sardines are, of all the people that I've known over the years, sardines are not typically consumed in volume. Occasionally they're enjoyed, but it's like you find out of maybe like 10 people, 3 of them, maybe as much as 5 under certain circumstances, will enjoy them, but not the vast majority enough to have a large and long serving series get a tie-in with a sardine manufacturer.
Okay, so traditional coastal Japanese fishing was dominated by catches of just a few species. During some pre-war years, sardines, including anchovy, accounted for more than half of the total weight, followed by herring, cod, and mackerel, with the top 3 species accounting for about 70% of the total catch. As the fleet extended its area of operation, the composition changed. In 1950, sardines were still the top catch, about 25% of the total. And then order changed again by 1975 with cod at the top. By 2000, sardines were again at the top of a greatly reduced overall catch, and the top three species, anchovy, skipjack, and cod, brought less than 40%. And then the other problem is collapse of sardine stocks, which have been the most dramatic development from nearly 4 million tons a year, harvested in the mid-'80s, to less than 30,000 tons by 2005.
Wow. Okay. So they culturally have a connection to sardines as much as any Atlantic-based culture.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I guess it's just it was everywhere in Japanese waters.
That's really interesting. So why the brand itself is a European brand or American brand? I don't remember, but why is it not a Japanese brand?
Wait, what brand?
Oscar? What was that? Was that
Oh, yeah, Oscar King, I think. Oscar, let's see here. King Oscar sardines. Let me check.
King Oscar, whatever it is, Lord Oscar.
Yeah, King Oscar sardines. It is Norwegian. But
Oscar Ochisama.
it is owned by the Thai Union Group, which is a Thailand-based producer of seafood-based products.
Oh. Okay, which we know. And last time I was in the grocery store with Oriental products, Thailand is producing a crap ton of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just see here. King Oscar, Thai Union Group, operates worldwide. They include Chicken of the Sea, John West, King Oscar, Ayam brand, which is popular in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. Marblu, Marvo, Parmentier, Select. So it looks like a lot of sort of, the big seafood brand in this country, as opposed to other stuff. Let's see.
Wow. Chicken of the Sea as well. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So imagine that they are they're a multi-nation conglomerate, and also imagine that the Wikipedia article has a very large section on labor disputes, controversies, and environmental impacts. So yeah. But you're right.
Wow.
You're right, Reezer. This is a very fishy
I
topic.
imagine for someone a corporation that operates a large fishing operation, that you're going to have environmental impact.
Yeah.
Big environmental impact.
That was actually one of the things in this book was that Japanese fishing of like tuna has dramatically impacted like world tuna supply, and that's a problem because tuna is a predator species. It's a sort of a top level species, and so that has ripple effects all the way down the food chain. So it's a problem. But yeah, it's weird.
I was very interested to see that Makoto Shinkai is working on a new thing, and gosh, do you think it's going to be like 2 or 3 or more years?
Well, that's his normal pace, right? Like I think Weathering with You was unusually quick, but he likes to move at his own pace, and I think he's well funded.
Well, and this is kind of the interesting part. It's like when you announce these things to the public that I'm going to work on something new. What are you doing? Are you
Ah.
telling people to sit back and relax and wait because you're doing something, don't pester you? Or is this the sort of lead out to like, get excited, I'm doing a thing?
Great question. I think it's a couple of things. One is, like you say, it is, hey, folks, stop pestering me. I think it's also covertly a message to potential investors and potential like sponsors to say, hey, I'm working on a thing. Let me know. If you want to do a sardine tie-in, I'm open.
Why don't we do Wagyu beef?
Hey, Weathering with You is all about weather and fish and such, right? Like that could be a natural tie-in for that, right?
Well, I think that sake might actually. Because,
Mm-hmm.
here with the you get the changing of the weather to grow better rice crop, and the better rice crop with this wonderfully enriching rain
Mm.
makes the best Weathering with You sake, premium brand.
Well, and I guess here's the question. Your Name was a more traditional sort of adolescent romance with a science fictional sort of a fantastical twist. Weathering with You has a bit more of a social message. Shinkai's earlier works have tended to be a little more personal or a little bit more eclectic, while his more recent films have been aiming at a larger audience. But he's also been talking about how he's a little frustrated that his films do have that public flair, that they become kind of maybe a little bit too common, if you will. Do you think his next film is going to lean more towards a sort of traditional romance story, or is it going to go the other direction and be a little more personal?
Well, that is really that's one of those things where you get to a person that's in their career so steadfastly and so completely, where you're going at some point in time to sort of revolve the cylinder, and you're going to fire something crazy.
Yeah.
If Shinkai has the cash to do pretty much anything, then it might be time for something crazy, something that's sort of groundbreaking, something that's sort of a little earth-shaking, if you will.
Yeah, I think he's totally up for that, and it might sort of be time for something unusual. And I think he's at a point where he can do whatever he wants. It's probably going to be reasonably popular, and so he doesn't have to worry about being weird, for lack of a better term.
Well, as to say, for all those series that are sort of outre in general, they, you know what I mean, they do and don't have people that are known that are related to them, and that's kind of a one-off thing sometimes. Now Shinkai's got cred, so you really, that gives you such a broad palette to work with.
Mm-hmm.
That you can do things that push the medium, that push your personal limits. Now, is that fundable? Will somebody actually, lay cash out to do that? That's a bigger question. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think between Your Name and Weathering with You, just smashing box office records, I think, I think he's gonna find somebody, no matter how crazy it is. He might not make money off it. It might be a failure, but I think at this point he has a lot of freedom.
Well, I mean, I think you can look easily at a lot of Hollywood successes and see that, where they run from their box office blast, there's a lot of passion projects that sort of explode out across the landscape. Some of them hit, at Sundance or, these other sort of small, very artsy things going on, but you know, it gives them the ability to do those things.
Yeah. Yep. Totally. Absolutely. Cool. I think I'm going to pause it there. I actually have another segment we're going to try out here in a minute.
What do you do with the mic? Are you just juggling it?
I'm literally juggling it. I'm literally moving it down to the speakers. Next time we'll find a better way of routing the audio.
All right.
But cool. Thank you so much for being part of this. We'll keep on doing this.
Hey, maybe next time I'll get the damn camera fixed again.
We'll make it work. Cool. All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and switch that off just so there's not a lot of other things going on. And I think you're completely right, Spin. I think this is several years out, and Shinkai is now just like, well, I have time. I might as well noodle on my next film idea. Yeah, I mean, I think Your Name is a fine film. It's a lovely film. It's a well-structured film. I certainly agree it doesn't quite have the complexity of some of his earlier works, though, or the symbolism, right? Those earlier films. It's more of a, summer blockbuster film in romantic anime sense, in an interesting way. But not everything's going to be, what we're looking for. So I'm going to try something. This is going to be interesting. Stand by for one moment while I readjust something. That wasn't it. What the hell? There we go. Audio helps. Audio always helps. Sorry about that. I think we're good. I think we're fine. I might be able to switch. Okay, let's try this. Let me switch over to here temporarily. Then I can see that. Okay, there we are. All right. My chair's all squeaky. All right, whatever. Welcome. This is the first segment in what might be multiple segments of a segment I'm going to try to do called Brent's Anime Recommendation Corner. This is just my time to sit down with you and talk through an anime that I love. This is not a review. This is not an analysis. But I think one of the things we lose as anime fans is that time of just sitting down and enthusing about an anime that you love and just talking about it as something that just really inspires you and delights you and things like that. And that's what this is born out of. And I want to talk to you today about Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko, aka Quiet Country Cafe. This is an OVA from the 90s. And it might take a moment for this to start working here. I'm just going to show little bits and pieces. This being YouTube, it's very easy for things to have issues, and sure enough, I'm having issues. But hopefully we'll get something going here. Quiet Country Cafe is an anime series set in a beautiful, collapsing human civilization. Humanity is slowly dying out, but this is not a post-apocalyptic series. It's not a tragic series. It is just set in a future in which there are fewer and fewer people being born. And so there's just less going on. There are fewer people around. And this is about living in this time of this sort of slow, the autumn of humanity, I believe it's called in the manga. And it centers on this girl named Alpha, who is an android girl living alone at the cafe, Cafe Alpha, which predictably does not get a lot of people in it, but it is just about her kind of living her life, experiencing things. This other android girl shows up, but much of her time is just spent quietly hanging out. Because she gets maybe one customer a week, but she has to open up the store and then or the cafe and sit around waiting for somebody to come in, right? That's her job. It's her duty. It's what she was brought in to do. That's what she does. And so it becomes one of the most slice of life anime series I've ever seen. Not just in the sense of being about, so a lot of slice of life is about just about nothing, right? It is just sort of people's everyday existence. This is instead an anime series with a tone. It has a relaxing feel. It recharges me every time I watch it. There is not just a beauty and there's a grace to it. There's a quietness to it. There's just something about enjoying the moment. Japanese anime often has this aspect of mono no oware, the sad fleetingness of a moment. This sense that this moment will never come back. Well, there's a bit of that in here. This is more about appreciating those moments. It's more about saying, let's slow down and enjoy those moments that we have. And again, not in a tragic way, but just in a way that let's love the things around us that are beautiful and that are worth spending time on. And so there's just a lot of this anime that's just about these little quiet moments. There's this wonderful sequence where she gets this camera and goes around just trying to find something to take a picture of, and just looking for different things. And it is literally this like 20 minutes of her just looking for something interesting and loving what she's seeing, but not finding like something that's quite framed just right. And I won't tell you how it ends. But it's just this, again, this appreciation of what we have just by being alive. There's a joy to this. There's an appreciation of existence in this anime that I see is very rare. It lacks any and all cynicism, which is just, again, very refreshing. And again, I'm not saying that every anime has to be like this or that every anime has to be quiet, but there's the kind of this recharging aspect to Quiet Country Cafe that I find just really remarkable. There are a total of 2 OVAs, each made a couple of years from each other. They both look very similar, based on a long-running manga that ended a few years ago. And if you're interested in this, go back. The manga is very much in this tone. It's unfortunately never made it over to the West. The manga has not, nor has the anime, actually. It's only been fan-subbed. So if you're looking for it, you're going to have to, find it in various spots. But I just, this is one of those anime that I will sit back and just watch and enjoy and relax, and makes me feel better every time I watch it. And not just in the sense of, I feel like I've had a chance to relax. I feel like I'm a better person for having watched Quiet Country Cafe. I feel like it has centered me in a really real and present way. I believe the first OVA is only 2 episodes, and each one is about half an hour long. So it's like an hour for the first OVA, and again, like half hour, 2 hours for the second OVA. So pretty short. The manga also is pretty short. I think it's only 80 or 90 issues. So that's maybe 5 or 6 volumes, something like that. And it does come to a conclusion. It does have an intentional ending that it does get to, and that is Quiet Country Cafe. It is just one of those things I stumbled across many years ago, and I love, and I think is a really remarkable, worthwhile thing. And it's one of the things I love about anime is that this is something I don't get out of Western media. It's not something I'll get out of Hollywood anytime soon, right? Because it is this little thing that can be a little thing. It can be quiet, recharging, post-apocalyptic stuff. Well, not post-apocalyptic, but Twilight of Mankind in a slice of life way. Yeah, quiet, contemplative anime. It's lovely. So that's it. It's called, again, Quiet Country Cafe, or Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko. Diary of a Yokohama Shopping Trip, which is sort of a play on some stuff going on in the anime. So just FYI, something I really enjoyed. So yeah, that's a little thing. Whoops, let me change that. So yeah, I'd like to do occasional videos where or just occasional segments where I just unreservedly recommend something and talk about why I love it. And again, try not to analyze it. Try not to be too critical or to be, I'm going to hit on all of these things. Because I think a lot of recommendations, a lot of things that we love for like one reason, right? Yeah, you'll have to just, find it on YouTube or Google it, or find it on certain websites, right? Right, mad ramblings of why you like something. I think that can be helpful. I think passion is useful, obviously tempered with thought, with reasoning. But saying I love something and here's why can be helpful. So yeah, that's something I'd like to do. I've tracked down Quiet Country Cafe. I think I got a bootleg of it back in the day, but it's probably discoverable in other places. Probably. Yeah, that's the thing. And again, trying to find a way of doing that that's passionate without being just, it's awesome, watch it. Yeah, and the different things we'll respond to, I think is also important. All right. Yeah, there is no action in Quiet Country Cafe at all. There is zero action. there's no real romance. There's little in the way of drama, actually. And yet I could watch every single second of it. And I know I've probably done a video on YKK at some point, but cool. Thanks, Game Escape. Yeah, I might just every week, or most weeks, do a quick segment in the corner. It's on YouTube. Cool. Hopefully, is it all subbed on YouTube? Hopefully, we can find out. Oh, I have that bootleg. Do I have? Let me see here. I probably still have that. I know I have the DVDs. But I wonder if I still have the original version. No. Okay. So what I have in my digital copy is a good digital copy. And I did buy the DVDs and Blu-rays. But I still have my bootlegs of Turn A, which were, that was a translation. Kind of. Technically. React to more bootleg stuff. I'd like to. I want to be careful about that because, again, it opens up sort of, I don't want to say legality issues, but, if word got around to YouTube that I'm promoting a bootleg product, that might be an issue. So I'll have to find just the right way of doing it. I would be happy to do like a reaction to like a bootleg Twitter account, though. I think that makes sense. I want to be just a little careful on that. I would love to do a watch party on Quiet Country Cafe. In fact, tell you what, let's do. In Discord, I'm going to coordinate a time this weekend where we will do a Quiet Country Cafe watch party, and I will show that on like Zoom somewhere. Again, just to a small group, and we will watch that. I would love to do more reactions to bootleg stuff because that'll be fun. It would be fun to do some reactions to like bootleg like anime subtitles, like those really bad Google translated stuff. Machine Muppets for Mobile Suits, all that stuff. Reaction to bad dubs. Yeah, I don't have an ear for bad dubs, in fairness. Certainly I have an eye for bad subs, though. Bad translations. Oh, yeah. There we go. You should not be born. People die when they are killed. I got you, Charmy. Yeah, reacting to like bootleg stuff. Sure, yeah. I'd be up for that. Totally. Any seasonal shows of late, like the past 2 years, that really caught your attention? Yes. Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, which I finished this week. Actually, that's another anime I finished this week. Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, which was charming and joyful and inspiring without making. It's about a bunch of girls that started an anime. Start making anime, and they in no way make it seem like anime is easy to make. Like it's very clear that anime is this laborious, complex process, but they really, they're just really passionate about it, and I just love that. I really, really love that. Let's see here. Other ones. Let me just pull up the list. There's certainly a bunch that caught my eye. That's just the most recent one. Not a lot I've like finished. I did finish If It's For My Daughter, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but until the ending, which didn't really happen, but I had the video on that. And then of course, Ascendance of a Bookworm, which I have the video on that. Oh, nice. Beauty and Warrior. Beauty and Warrior. I assume that's an anime? Beauty and Warrior animation. Oh my. Joseph Lai. Alright. Right. Let's see here. Joseph Lai sounds familiar. Or Lai, I don't know. Let's see here. That's not very helpful. Hold on. Beauty and Warrior. Looks like a lot of the bad Korean 80s anime that I've seen. High Score Girl? Yeah, I have not seen High Score Girl. I would love to do a reaction video to like bad Korean anime from the 80s too. Like that would be fun. Just watch some of that crazy animation eye. Makes all the terabyte animation. That's a bold claim. There's a lot of bad. I've actually been thinking about. So this is a tough thing, and again, I get into weird territory with this about saying that I'm going to do this. But I would kind of really enjoy doing like an MST, a regular MST style watch along, where like weekly we get together like on Zoom or something to watch a really cheesy, terrible thing, and just riff along to it the entire time. Again, like probably in chat mostly, but just kind of like the Mobile Morality Brigade knows what I'm talking about. That kind of thing, and just do that regularly. Because I've got a lot of stuff. I've got that infamous anime I talked about last week where mecha are powered in a certain way. I got a bunch of Korean anime again on the hard drive. Well, Korean anime, right? However you do that. I could also do my Evangelion Mystery Science Theater episode 1 Mystery Science Theater. That'd be cool. Okay, so that sounds like something that folks are yeah. I remember the Garzy's Wing dub actually because I watched episode 1 somewhere, and I was like, okay, I normally have no problem with dubs. I'm switching this over to the Japanese now. It's woof, man. Okay, we'll see what we can put together. It would also be fun to like occasionally do something that's like well respected, but can also be crazy. Sing Yesterday for me. That sounds vaguely familiar. Sing Yesterday for me. Oh, that. Right. I only saw episode 1. I was intrigued, but I did not see any more of that. Yeah, Tower of God turned me off, personally. Oh, I was going to look up other anime of the season. Anime of 2020. Bunch of series from last season that looked interesting, but I just have not been able to follow up on. Honestly, I have kept what was the sort of the Princess Connect Redive that just looks cute and fluffy, so I might just keep on that one. People say they really like Bokufuri. I think the hammer girl, the shield defense girl, right? Again, Ezoken. I still have Somalia and the Silent Forest. I think of that. I've gone a few episodes into that, and really, I'm appreciating that as I understand more of the backstory, and that it's not quite what it seems to be in the first episode. So that definitely caught my eye. Somalia and the Forest Spirit, something like that. Princess Connect is total fluff and great fun. Good, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Beastars, obviously, oh my gosh, yes. Pretty much anything Studio Orange does has my eye. And that first episode was really cool. No Guns Life was really cool. Only got halfway through that, but really enjoyed it. Also, oh gosh. Didn't I Say to Make My Abilities Average in the Next Life was, again, fluffy fun until the end when suddenly there's actually a plot and an ending, which is really cool. Also, now one is also my favorite. It's cool. Gleipnir was just a little too grimdark for my tastes. And kind of absurdly sexualized in the first episode. So I had that just kind of turned me off personally. Certainly carefully constructed, certainly, intentionally made to be what it is, but it just felt a little bit too grimdark for me. Let's see here. Yeah, and Somali has a little more plot than I thought it would have. What else? Dumbbell. Obviously, I finished Dumbbell of all the anime. And it is not complex. It is not thought-provoking. But it was just great fun and executed exactly on its premise. And then clicking back further, I do want to watch more of Demon Slayer at some point. Because, yeah, and just for the animation, if nothing else, honestly. My gosh. So yeah, those are the ones that really leapt out at me that I can recall. Eighth Son. Yeah, Eighth Son seemed interesting, but the first episode was just so much setup. I couldn't really get a good sense of what it would actually become. So it kind of got lost in the shuffle for me. But I could totally see watching more Eighth Son. Thanks, Charmy. Yep, those are coming along. Definitely will take a while to get it finished up, but looking forward to getting that done. We're going to have to figure out something else to do with Utena too, because I never have the capacity to do more anime after the live stream. I have not read Woodpecker Detective's Office. Looks interesting though. Oh, you're making some shells for yourself, Charmy. Awesome. Yeah, the system for these just sort of crate things have been great so far. Really, really nice. Unreviewed Season 3. Awesome. Cool. Well, Spin, people seem to like Superman. And Batman to an extent. So I guess it's that appeal. And again, I'm saying that because I don't find stories about demigods interesting either. But there does seem to be something, that people get out of that. So. Not my thing. Unless that's kind of the joke, right? Unless that's very much, yeah, One Punch Man. Which is another show that I got partway through and was like, nope, not for me. Hercules. Although Hercules is absolutely a demigod with sort of vaguely defined powers, but it's a fable, Greek myth worked in such a different way than modern storytelling. It's just really hard to, it's just, the comparisons are very odd, how all that works. But yeah, I prefer characters with well-defined powers. They can be, very powerful powers, but I prefer to know what I'm dealing with instead of, this person just stopped this bullet because they decided to, because now they can do that. Yeah, and One Punch Man kind of came along at just the right time. I think it was one of those shows that it was approachable. It was about something that American fans could understand, right, and that appealed to a non-anime fan base. So kind of pulled them in. Interesting. 1 second. Yeah, I mean, not to get too far into myth, but what made Hercules interesting, exactly to your point, Matt, is that so many stories were about gods back in the day who were, not necessarily all powerful, but they were effectively invulnerable, right? You could do all sorts of crazy things to them, and they would always come back. Hercules was interesting because it was breaking that archetype. He was somebody who had superhuman abilities, but he was not full god, so you could tell some more complicated stories with him. He was kind of a trope inventor in that way. Writers coming up with this middle ground between humans who tended to have very real and very strong failings, if just because they were mortal, and these all powerful gods or extremely powerful gods. So you do some interesting stuff there with Hercules. And a lot of shonen characters are very. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Those characters are basically demigods. They can do crazy, crazy powerful things. And then it gets into weird things around how you write those sorts of characters, right? Like, your characters are kind of immortal. The hero of your story is kind of immortal because you're probably not going to kill your hero. Like, we all know you're not just going to kill your hero partway through. I'm going to try watching My Hero Academia this weekend and see what I think. But you all know my views on shonen in general. But that's the other thing, is that, one of the reasons a lot of things are popular is precisely because they appeal to a mainstream audience. Because they don't appeal to us. Like, they don't appeal to the hardcore fan who likes something for its sort of essential qualities. People like those mainstream anime because they are approachable to somebody who isn't familiar with all the tropes. Again, I think One Punch Man gets in folks who get superheroes because it's a parody of superheroes, not because it's classic anime. Again, nothing against One Punch Man, but I think One Punch Man appeals to a non-anime fan base more directly than it does to a classic anime fan base. Yeah, there is a certain famous movie that does kill off its protagonist halfway through, but it's exceedingly rare. But I don't want to get into spoilers. So it has happened, but it's not a common thing. It was supposed to happen in a very famous anime, but the author decided to change it. I think I can tell that story. It's been a while. Yeah, Gurren Lagann is kind of like that. Mobile Suit Gundam. Amuro was supposed to die halfway through Mobile Suit Gundam, the original series. And Char was supposed to take over as a protagonist, more or less. Well, really the entire crew of White Base, but with Char as kind of their main hero. Psycho was the movie. True, Gare Zero does it basically because they kill off their, basically the entire crew gets killed off very quickly. Yeah. And a lot of folks die in other Tomino series, but he does not kill his main protagonist usually. Um, I don't know. I never watched Death Note. I got a bit into it and was like, this is not for me. It just felt very, again, very, very silly. Cryed. Thanks, Becca. Good to see you. Yeah, I should probably head out here in a minute. Oh, gee, I do need to head out. All right, guys, this has been fun, but yeah, I am falling apart. I apologize for not being able to continue with Utna. With the past couple of weeks, I have been tired out, and I keep going late. So I'm gonna have to figure out some other way of continuing the Classic Anime Club. I will definitely post something on the Discord about doing a some kind of Quiet Country Cafe stream and some kind of parody thing. Some kind of not parody thing, but some kind of watching of crazy stuff, of goofy stuff. Thank you all very much. Yeah. Have a good week. Enjoy things. Hope everything comes together for you all. Have a great week, and until next time, watch more anime.